All right, and here's what an indictment could look like, and this is certainly a serious charge, right? So this is what the indictment could look like. So the prosecutor charges Dr. Michel Dell with the crime of genocide. Okay, count one: genocide by imposing measures intended to prevent births. The accused, Dr. Michel Dell, is a licensed medical practitioner operating in the province of Nova Scotia, Canada, has knowingly and systematically prescribed, facilitated, and directly performed medical procedures that prevent births within the Acadian population, a recognized national and ethno-cultural group. Now, and I do admit that there could be some legal road bumps in this argument. Right? So somebody could argue, and they would be, rightfully doing so, uh, is submitting the fact that the Acadian population is a conquered nation. They are no different from the Canadian whole. That argument could be persuasive to some people, but I would submit that there is a significant linguistic and cultural heritage that cannot be ignored, but some arguments could be persuasive, and I am mature enough to admit that. But however, what happened here, and certainly is true that births were prevented within this group, disproportionate or not, and that's another topic of a conversation that could be um, noteworthy. That is it disproportionate from the Canadian society in whole, maybe or maybe not. But either way, the fact remains that the Acadian population is. Um, I would submit is a recognized national and ethno-cultural group, and that Dr. Dow has knowingly and systematically prescribed these abortifacients, which are drugs designed to not to prevent the fertilization and ovulation, but to kill the small boy or the small girl in the future stage of development. So the stage of development that yeah. So let's not make any a mistake here. There is a small boy or a small girl, and they are alive, and they have a distinct DNA code, 100% new, and never to be replicated again. He can never be replaced. It's different from the past. No boy or no girl has ever had that DNA code. It's a unique and distinct DNA code, and it is 100%. He or her, I should say, is 100% alive. This baby is alive. He is alive, she is alive, and she will be killed by Dr. Michel Dow's signature on that prescription pad. All right, so let's continue. The accused has engaged in the following conduct or constituting measures intended to prevent births. So the prescription and distribution of abortion-inducing drugs. Right, these are not going to prevent the pregnancy; they will simply kill the baby at the stage of development. The direct performance of abortion procedures on Acadian women, and the endorsement and facilitation of policies that result in a statistically significant reduction of Acadian births, contributing to the ongoing demographic collapse of the Acadian people. The accused, as a trained medical professional, possesses possesses full knowledge of embryology and the scientific fact that human life begins at fertilization. Despite this, she has willfully disregarded this knowledge to justify and facilitate mass abortions with the foreseeable consequence of ethno-cultural erasure of the Acadian people. So that's a serious topic of conversation here. The life does begin at fertilization for sure, and she knows this. Right? She is 100% aware of it, and however, she will still put her signature on that prescription pad and physically give that piece of paper to the woman, and and then the woman will go to the pharmacy, and she will pay for that. She will pay the money for without and that's the thing. They do not know that these drugs are abortifacients. They do not know. They are not aware that they are abortifacients. They just simply believe that it will prevent the baby from being conceived, but it's not. The baby is conceived and then subsequently killed. A small boy or small girl will be killed because of these and because of the signature on the prescription pad, and so forth. Right. So the accused has acted within a state-sponsored framework where abortion services are subsidized by the government of Canada, further demonstrating the systemic nature of these measures. Okay. So the actions of the accused individually and in concert with other state-funded medical practitioners have resulted in the deliberate reduction in the number of Acadian births, given the historically low birth rate among Acadians and the well-documented risk of assimilation and cultural extinction. These acts constitute genocide. So, in the past, right, Acadian families had 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 children, and now it is a much lower number, right? So something is happening. Something is happening for sure. Okay. All right, so count two. Count two. There's a two-part count in this indictment here. The crimes against humanity, other inhumane acts causing severe suffering. So the accused has engaged in conduct that constitutes crimes against humanity by contributing to the physical and psychological suffering of Acadian women and families, many of whom were not fully informed of the long-term consequences of abortion. The accused has willfully and systematically participated in a system that targets an identifiable cultural group, causing irreparable harm to the demographic sustainability of the Acadian people. Again, an identifiable cultural group, anybody that would put forward the argument that it's a conquered nation and there's no, difference from the Canadian whole, you would have to question their morality and the reason that they would put forth this argument. Although I can see some merit to that argument. I could see some merit to the argument that the Canadian society as a whole includes the Acadian due to their, conquered status, right? They are a conquered nation. I am an Acadian, and I fully admit that we are a conquered nation by force. It's not because we wanted to. It's because the English had a whole bunch of guns. Right. So does that conquered status erase our identifiable culture? Maybe or maybe not. I would submit that it does not. There are some people that may be persuaded by that argument, but I do not. I believe so. I think that Acadians are a unique, identifiable culture with their, with our own language. I mean, you try to, an English person cannot go to Clare and speak with them because they will not understand the language, the Acadian culture. And society is different. I would submit that it is an identifiable culture. I do believe it is. Although I am mature enough to, like I said, accept that some people may be persuaded by the argument that it is a conquered nation, and it is. But conquered nations could still be an identifiable culture. Jurisdiction. Right. So this international type of court, right? It's not the Canadian court. And admissibility, right? So is it admissible into this superseding court, right? And I'm not talking about the Supreme Court of Canada. I'm talking about a superseding court. That could be formed, a new court that could be formed specifically to address these types of acts. Okay, so jurisdiction and admissibility. Court has jurisdiction over this case pursuant to the statute, which includes the crime of genocide and crimes against humanity. Although Canada has not prosecuted the accused under domestic law, the court has jurisdiction under the principles of complementarity. Complementarity. Oh man. Apologize. Complementarity. I apologize about that. Complementarity. So let's read this again. Although Canada has not prosecuted the accused under domestic law, the court has jurisdiction under the principle of complementarity, as Canadian authorities have failed to make necessary to take necessary legal action to prevent the systematic destruction of the Acadian people through birth prevention measures. All right, so there's only one relief that could be granted here by these types of internationally superseding courts. That could be new. This could be an entirely new court that could, or it could be an existing court, superseding international court that could be made simply for this crime. And I would submit that this is a likely scenario, right? This has to end, right? We must end this. All right. So prayer for relief. The office of the prosecutor respectfully requests that a warrant be issued for the immediate arrest of Dr. Michel Dow and the accused be tried before the court for genocide and crimes against humanity, and upon conviction, the accused be sentenced to life imprisonment. Right? That means that she will die there. There will be no type of parole in a domestic justice system. That life here means life. That means she will die within the walls of the prison, and that's certainly what she deserves. Certainly what she deserves. So that is the indictment, right? The two count indictment, one being the crime of genocide and one being the crime of crimes against humanity. And this is not, some far-fetched, discussion, right? This is real stuff, right? These are real people, and this is not an idea of a baby that maybe has been conceived. No, this baby was certainly conceived and died. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next video.